Hi folks, Puffin here. It's September 11th, 2021, 20-year anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attack here in the United States of America. And I first want to say condolences to all the spirits of all the people who were lost in that attack. And I wanted to say also condolences to all the families of those people and the families of all the people who have been affected since then in the United States of America's response to the attacks. That means the people of Iraq and Afghanistan and other places who were victims of the wars that America put out there. The spirits of those people and the people in those families, the people affected in all that suffering, and also the people in America, because people in America have been victims of police violence, for instance, since before 20 years ago, since long before September 11th. Police violence has been a problem in America. And September 11th ramped up the police state and the surveillance state very highly in America. Everybody talks about that openly, how that was the legacy of the terrorist attack. And that has also increased and had an effect on these same people that the police have been terrorizing. It's intensified that and made it even more focused and it's more everything. It's worse, and we need to fix it all. And so I'm sorry to all those families and spirits of people who've been killed by the police or other agents, other terrorists in America, emboldened in part of this. And that continues to this day, and it's been increasing with Trumpers. So my condolences to all these people in remembrance of that horrific attack 20 years ago and all the aftermath from it. Having said that, I had some stuff I want to say, which I'll probably say in some other videos. But I did want to say that to commemorate the day and just to remember how all this stuff is connected and how, even these terrorists, even people that have, whatever their reasons for this type of hatred and desires to attack people, it only keeps increasing. It only spreads that hatred to new people to share and act on hatred, to react with revenge. I guess what I'm getting is they were doing this out of revenge for something. I don't even know specifically what they wanted revenge for. Probably lots of things. The Al-Qaeda network itself, Osama bin Laden himself was trained, and put out there, funded all this by America. It's a real sham where they're working both sides of things in order to perpetuate war. And if we just get rid of war, then we don't have to do this. And I've got an offer, I've got a solution. It's like we've got a big job to do, a huge job to do to convert things to green energy, to save the planet from climate change, which we're noticing the effects of that. The virus is honestly, at its root, a climate change issue. Those are going to try to distract you with conspiracy theories or whatever, but it is something that just like other viruses in recent years, something that came from an animal population because of the climate change effect on seasons, allowing these animals to interact that didn't used to. It's not that hard to understand, and it's extremely dangerous to throw off the balance of nature. So that comes back to that too. It comes back to the same problem we have to fix. And when they try to distract and try to make it seem necessary to have war and to have military, it's always a dangerous road. And we've had not just these last two wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, but plenty of wars before that, but especially these last two wars in Afghanistan. We've had plenty of evidence that it doesn't work, that it's an obsolete human activity. Now, instead of feeling threatened by these ideas in these words, I have a proposal for you, and this is how it connects to climate change. And no one wants to put military people out of work or make you feel devalued or anything. What we really want is for you to live up to the heroic image that we've all cast for you, and that people feel so disappointed when it's like, well, we didn't, hero the thing we wanted to hero, or we told them we were going to hero and we didn't hero the right way or something like that. There's a way to hero that only goes right. And it keeps your job, and it keeps your command structure, it keeps all your prestige, it keeps everything except for the violence. It doesn't keep the violence, it doesn't keep the war. So here's the proposal. You convert the military into a rescue, because we need rescue to deal with climate change, rapid response rescue people from disasters, into a rescue force, which everyone appreciates that, like we all appreciate water commies, the firemen, and green energy conversion. You have two big jobs: rescuing people, which is a big job all the time, putting out fires, stuff like that. Rescue and mitigating natural disaster consequences, and then converting things to green energy. Huge projects to change whole infrastructures into, what we kind of want to do here in America finally with the infrastructure plan that President Joe has put forth. But all over the world, huge projects. We're going to need military organization and military efficiency and military acumen, military intelligence, military ability to do these things, to tackle these jobs. And it's going to be the biggest heroes of the world. You're going to save the world for us, and we're going to support you doing it and truly support you. Because when it comes down to it, you see these people who've claimed they support the military in war. And here, in this era, because we were guilty of it, the left was guilty of not being respectful to the soldiers who came back from Vietnam because we were so upset with the war, and people took it out on the soldiers, which is a wrong thing to do. And then they got the whole let's support the soldiers even if we don't support the war thing, which is dangerous. But what you result in is the people who most champion that here at the end of the Afghan war are cheering on the Taliban and, down on anything Joe Biden does or anything that happened with the military, because they're not actually about the military. It's just like I was saying about these cop watch people who were like, watching the cops, and they say, we back the blue here, you can't say anything. They're trying to censor me. See my other video from their chats, and which is fine. People use censorship, whatever. But when the issue comes down to, I mentioned cops being arrested for killing Elijah McClain. I mentioned that good cops have arrested some bad cops. And so I'm backing the blue in this case, aren't I? I'm supporting the arresting officers. I'm supporting the officers who did a good job getting bad officers into jail. Now, because they're not about actually supporting the officer. They're not about actually supporting the work. They're about supporting the officer to the extent that the officer supports the white supremacist system. So their sympathy is with the officer who killed somebody in a violent, racist way and got in trouble for it. That's the blue they want to back. So it's not right. It's not good. And that's the only direction you can go when what you're doing is not right. If we had good police, everybody could back them. If you had a good police system, we do have good police. I'm not saying they don't exist like good people in the police force. But if we had a good police system, everybody could back them. It's a bad system. So, we have to reform it and change it completely. Same with war. We can change it. And they call America the world's policeman for all the war that they do, that we do. And we can change it. I've always wanted to change it. I really see it now. As long and as terrible as these wars have been, it's a beautiful thing that for at least a few days now, we are not in a war. Because America's been at war and just been at war and been at war. And we actually haven't been at war. And I even came up with the idea, what if that was the last war? What if we avoid all war from now on? And we can do it. And it's over. That would be a beautiful thing. So help join me in that vision and make that the lesson of 9/11 for us. Also, we got to vote no on the California recall coming up. 3 days to do that, because that's a terrorist attack on California that we can stop, because they're going to try to ban masks and spread the Trump virus. But I'll make a shorter video about that next. Thank you for watching. And thank you for listening to what I have to say or commenting, talking to me about it. And thanks for thinking about it and taking it to heart. Because I do mean this from my heart. I want to stop war. And I think that all of this is just war, an excuse for war, and continuing war, and all the revenge stuff, all the violence. It's all part of the same thing, and it all comes down to just making people's lives kind of miserable in a certain way. Even if people have pretty good lives and are enjoying themselves, there's this underlying misery to it, knowing that there's the suffering that this life is causing in some ways, is connected to. And we can have a good life that everybody can share in, that isn't connected to that suffering, because we don't do it anymore. So please help me make that happen. And again, blessings to all those that have been lost through all the tragic tragedies of war, and especially through these last 20 years. Thank you.